This is Swiss and Chips, your British guide to Switzerland. Hello and welcome to Swiss and Chips. I'm Jo Fay.
And I'm Simon Reed.
So welcome to another episode, and this time we're talking about heading back and forth between England and Switzerland. And Switzerland, it's not the biggest of countries, however, it still has a number of airports. So looking for the perfect flight home can be a little bit tricky. Where to fly from? That's one of the big questions. But before we get into that, we have exciting news for you. We're now on WhatsApp. You can send us a message there and subscribe to the show. The number you'll need is +41 78 915 3959.
Yeah, I think the exciting thing about the WhatsApp group is you can send us also a voice message and we play it in the show. And yeah, we will send you as soon as a new episode is ready, we send it out.
Exactly. So here's the number one more time, +41 78 915 3959. And last but not least, if you like the show so far, don't forget to leave us a review on iTunes.
Cool. Enough advertisement for us, I think. So let's start with the show. We've just recently been to England to visit your family and friends, and we are soon heading again. And I think the first question is, what do you do when you decided to go?
Yeah, I think finding a flight can be a little bit tricky because it seems that once you start looking, the prices are suddenly going up and up and up and up. And the longer you wait, the more expensive it gets, it seems. And now you're a person who knows quite a lot about finding a cheap flight. What's your advice price-wise for finding a good flight?
Most people know already that you go and look on one of these flight comparing sites like Skyscanner or flights from Google. What's the URL? I think flights.google.com. Otherwise, you just head on our website and we will put a link there. I think that's the first step to do. If you have done that, you might have a look on the website of the airline on EasyJet or wherever. Sometimes it's a bit cheaper there. And I think if you can, obviously it's much cheaper to fly on certain days and certain times, like early in the morning or maybe before midday. It's usually a bit cheaper, and also during the week. I mean, like we fly usually Friday evening to Sunday evening. That's probably the most expensive time to fly. And we also usually then book the flight quite on a short notice, which makes it even more expensive. So I think if you compare very well and you know a little bit in advance when you go, and you can go on a Thursday evening till a Monday evening or something, then you find really cheap flights. And yeah, Friday evening till Sunday evening, I would say it's also not super expensive. Or what do you think?
Yeah, I think you're looking at roughly, 150 to up to maybe 300 francs, something like that, generally speaking. But it varies. Of course, if you can go on a Thursday morning, a time when nobody wants to fly, you can get an extremely cheap flight.
So you said first you think about the price, or is that the first thing you're looking for?
Pretty much. I mean, we have this problem when we're heading home to see our families. There's a lot of arranging and then rearranging and then rearranging. So finding the kind of dates that you actually want to go, that's the first problem you need to resolve. And we're most often going back to London, basically. Of course, there are other places you could fly to in the UK. And so then the choice is really, which airport are you going to go from in Switzerland? Of course, we're based in Bern. So there's an airport in Bern you might not know about. There's Zurich, obviously, Basel, Geneva, and of course, Lugano. But we're not really flying from Lugano very often because it's so far away.
Yeah, I also think it's not really cheap to fly from there, but maybe if you live in Tessin, so you would fly from there, I don't know.
Exactly. So Bern Airport, that was a little bit of a surprise the first time I went from there, I have to say. Could you describe Bern Airport to us?
Well, it's quite hard to describe. I mean, Switzerland, it's based in the capital of Switzerland, so you might think, oh, it's quite a big airport, but it's really very, very tiny, you could say. And you can drive there, park straight more or less in front of the airport, and you walk in, and 20 meters later you can walk on the
runway.
Yeah, on the runway, and you step out 3 stairs, and then you're in your plane. So it's really very tiny, and the security check takes maybe 5 minutes or something. And I think if you are there 40 minutes before your departure, you are early enough. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. The thing is, it feels really exclusive because there's nobody there. There's only tiny planes kind of coming and going. And you're basically walking right out onto the tarmac, kind of in old school style luxury almost. However, although there are no queues for security because hardly anyone's flying from there, I did find that as the only person going through security when I took a flight from there once, they decided to take everything out of my bag and have a good look at it.
Yeah, that might be true. And also it's quite expensive to fly from Bern. So usually I would say that's more business flights that leave and arrive at Bern airport. So usually would take one of the others. So we had now Tessin in Lugano. We are not really going because it's far away. Bern would be right where we are, but it's very expensive usually. So I would say it's maybe double or triple the price. There you have still Geneva, Zurich and Basel.
Exactly. And I would say after we've checked out Bern to see if there's maybe an affordable flight, generally the answer is no, then we're looking at either Zurich or Basel for the kind of second cheapest option. EasyJet are going from both. And maybe let's talk about Basel Airport first. That's quite a nice one, but also with a bit of a twist. You have to get a bus there.
Yeah, you have to get a bus that takes maybe half an hour or something from Basel train station to the airport. And the other thing is it's not really Switzerland anymore. What can you say? I mean, it's right at the border to Switzerland, France and Germany. So the downside is basically you don't have Wi-Fi and you don't have the Swiss
3G connection basically drops out and suddenly you're roaming in France for the entire time that you're waiting for your flights.
Yeah, exactly. So, and it's also very tiny. So not really my first choice, I would say. So.
Okay. And then equally far away for us from Bern is Zurich Airport, which is quite nice.
Yeah, that's the international airport, I would say, from Switzerland. So you fly to everywhere there. And also obviously to England. So it's quite big for Switzerland, I would say. It's a very big airport, so you have lots of shops and things. And yeah, the train arrives right at the airport, so it's very quick check-in and everything. So that's my first choice, yes.
Yeah, super convenient. And you have more of a choice of airlines flying from there as well. Not just EasyJet, but also Swiss, British Airways, or also leaving from there. Then there's the wild card, Geneva.
Yeah, usually very cheap flights depart from Geneva. It's like usually Ryanair, I think, but at weird times. So Geneva takes from Bern like, how long does it take? Like 2 hours or something?
On the train, yeah, about 2 hours, maybe a bit longer.
So, and then already the train is quite expensive. So if you calculate that as well, and then the time you have to be there, sometimes it's like 7 a.m, so you can't even really be there from Bern. So, and the same thing when you arrive, when you come back, and then, yeah, once we were really tight and when the flight was a little late and we didn't know, do we have to stay in Geneva for the night and so on. So, yeah, you can fly from Geneva. I wouldn't, yeah. If you live in Geneva or somewhere near there, so that would be the first choice. But from Bern, I would say I would prefer Zurich or Basel.
Exactly, yeah. If you're living in the French-speaking part of Switzerland, then well done. You're going to get a nice, cheap EasyJet flight from Geneva, I think.
We said in Geneva is the Ryanair departures from Geneva. That's what I wanted to say. It's a very cheap airline, but yeah, it's also... yeah, you get what you pay. What do you think?
Oh, definitely. I think I've flown once with Ryanair and you think, oh, it won't be that bad. But really, the seats are extremely small. I'm not a hugely tall person, but your knees are really banging up against the back of the seat and you feel packed in. Plus, it has those scary Ryanair colours literally everywhere. So don't go with a migraine. It will only get worse.
Yeah, luckily the flight is not too long to England. So I think it's okay. Yeah, compared to the price, I think it's totally okay. But it's true, it's very inconvenient, I would say. And EasyJet is a bit the same thing, but a little bit better. But I think my recommendation is get up early, especially if you fly with hand luggage only. Then I think get up early, so get in the queue. Otherwise, they take your luggage and they check it in. So you have to wait in England or Switzerland until you get it.
And speaking of baggage, of course, that's a sort of final factor that you would be factoring into your big pile of costs when you're booking your flight home. Is a bag included or not? And of course, it used to be included with British Airways going back to England, but isn't anymore. So if you really need to take lots of things with you, maybe at Christmas you're taking presents back, for example, it might be better to fly with Swiss. Lots of things to think about there, isn't there?
Well, yes and no. I think it's the same thing like everywhere. So in Switzerland, it's not much different. Flying Switzerland to England and back, I think it's just quite a simple flight if you have done it 2-3 times. It's like getting a train, more or less. And not really any specialities in Switzerland to think about. Yeah.
I would say the one thing that marks Switzerland apart maybe with flights is it's not 100% connected, but in Switzerland, you can almost guarantee that your train to the airport will be on time, whereas in England, you wouldn't really be able to because the trains are so often late.
Yeah, the train to the airport, to and from the airport is guaranteed on time. Yes, also the bus in Basel, I think it's always on time, more or less, maybe 2-3 minutes, but I think otherwise it's on time, but it's also you pay for it.
Yeah, you pay for Swiss service, what can I say?
Yeah, it's true. I think people often forget that maybe the flight to Switzerland is quite cheap. Can be maybe one way, could be like with Ryanair, maybe 30 francs or something, which is how much pound? Maybe 25 or something? Don't know.
That.
And yeah, then from Geneva to Bern with the train is maybe, I don't know, without the Halbtags, but we can talk about this another time. But I think it's for sure at least triple the price of the flight.
Exactly. Can get pricey. All right. Do we want to finish up then with just a sort of few basics that you would recommend for finding a nice, cheap flight from Switzerland to the UK?
Well, like we started, I would say compare the prices, try to book early. If you can, try not to fly on a Friday evening to Sunday evening. Maybe another day, another time. Be flexible. Take only hand luggage. Yeah, maybe compare the different airlines. I think then you won't pay too much. I think it's not so expensive anyway.
So that's it from us this week. Don't forget, if you like the show this time, leave us a review on iTunes. That would be really fantastic. And don't forget, you can also subscribe via WhatsApp now. All you have to do is send us a message to +41 78 915 3959.
Yeah, leave a voice message. That would be nice.
And we'll play it on our show. Thanks for listening.
Bye.